So I recently watched a video of one of my friends talking to CEOs and community leaders, and he said something that really struck me. He said, "Gone are the days where you say, if nothing is broken, then there's no need to fix it." Leaders, he was talking to leaders and CEOs, that leaders and CEOs must evolve for their organizations to survive. Okay, they must evolve. And as I listened to it, and like my normal me, as I listened to it, I then thought, okay, if we accept these things for CEOs and for organizations and for career paths and all that stuff, why do we resist it in parenting? Is parenting not leadership as well? And so it just made me thought that I said, you know what, let's come and talk about this, because if CEOs must evolve to stay relevant, if they must evolve to stay influential, if they must evolve to stay as effective as they need to be, why do parents resist evolving? What makes evolving in parenting so hard to accept? What makes us think that parenting is any different? We know lots of organizations who didn't evolve, and where are they today? The blockbusters, all those organizations, Kodak and all those companies that were the big shots in their times, but they didn't evolve, and so they became irrelevant. They became not influential. And so I need us to put on our parenting hats, like the leadership hats that they are, and think beyond what we are doing today. Because you and I know our children are growing. Our children are not going to stop growing because we decide not to evolve. So I'm going to share a few thoughts that I have around this so that we can start to really pay attention and actually question ourselves. Are we evolving? Are we really evolving? So that's the key. I think we just need to think about that. Why do we actually resist evolving? I think number one, there's an identity attachment to it. So we've parented the way that we were brought up to parent. We've parented the way we were conditioned in parenting. So if we change, if some of us change, the resistance is because we think, if we change, does it mean our parents were wrong? Does it mean all that we have done so far has been wrong and we have failed? So is that resistance because we've tied how we've parented already, we've tied it to our identity? Moving away from it, evolving away from it can be quite difficult for parents because they have what's the word I'm trying to use? They have identified with it. That's how they've been. So moving away from it, they may question what they've done all along. And they may say, oh, well, that means we're insinuating that our parents didn't do a good job. No, we're not insinuating that. We just have to evolve because we've got to evolve. Our children are growing. We can't stick to all the ways that our parents parented. And I like to say this when I give this point. We are not criticizing our parents. We're not being disloyal to our parents when we evolve. We've got to evolve. That's just the simple concepts is that we've got to evolve. And once you can really take away that assumption of because we evolve, if we evolve, then that means we're saying our parent. If you can remove that assumption, you'll be free to evolve as a parent. And your evolving as a parent will keep you relevant, keep you effective, and most especially, keep you very influential. I think that is key to it all. Keep you very influential. The next one is losing authority. People think that when they evolve, that means they're going to lose authority, they will lose respect, their children will not respect them anymore. But that's not the case. Your evolving shows that you're wise. Your evolving shows that you understand them better. Because you always see my hands doing this when I'm describing this. Our children are growing. We've got to evolve and grow as well with them. If we don't grow with them, they leave us behind because they're going to keep going. So your evolving doesn't take away your influence. It actually builds your influence, it builds your connection. Because if you stay stagnant, they will leave you behind. And that is what many parents, many families are seeing at the moment. Another thing is another reason that we resist, that many parents resist, is they're so comfortable in how they do things. They're so comfortable in the familiar ways they do things. All the rules, all the techniques. They're very familiar with that, and so they're very comfortable with that. They're comfortable in the doing. They don't realize that they've got to become. When we're saying evolving, that evolving is definitely an inner transformation. And many parents resist inner transformations because they're afraid. They're afraid, oh, does it mean I don't get to set the rules? Does it mean there's no more discipline, there's no more control? Many parents see their parenting as more of a role rather than a relationship. And I talk about that a lot. When we start to evolve, our styles, that inner transformation starts to happen. And because we're evolving and we're becoming more. And when you're becoming more, guess what's happening? Your influence is rising as well. Many times, many parents have lost their influence because they've not become more. They're only doing more, they've not become more. And so there's that resistance to it. Another actual resistance that many parents have, and I must say this, is the emotional costs evolving could bring up. And I'll give you a reason. I'll give you an example. When parents see that they have to change, there's some ways that they've got to change. They would rather not change because sometimes that change includes them regretting what they've done before in the past, regretting how they've parented before in the past. Do you see what I'm saying? Those missed moments they had, those regrets that they had, they're grieving what they did before. So rather than grieve what they did before, they would rather stay in what they're doing and continue what they're doing. So that costs. Sometimes parents don't want to evolve because it's going to open their eyes to see the things that they didn't do too well. And guess what, parents? No, there's no perfect parents. We're all learning. We're all learning. We're all evolving. So I know that that's one of the reasons, but I want parents who is using that reason to not evolve. I want parents to really think through it and think about the benefits of evolving over the cost of your thinking, oh, I could have done this, oh, I could have done that. So important. And I tell you something, when we don't evolve, it costs us. It costs us and it costs our children. There's effects on all these things. I said it at the start, loss of influence. A lot of parents are blaming social media as being now more influential than them with their children. But I tend to not agree with that. I know that there's influence on social media. I'm not denying it. But I think our influence as parents can become more strong when we evolve. It can become stronger when we focus on building and nurturing the relationship with our children as well as the role. Without that, we lose influence very, very easily. Very, very easily, we lose influence. So that's among the, and the cost for a child is that when we don't evolve, children, they don't connect. They don't connect with someone who's not growing with them. They don't connect. They would keep things to themselves. They won't share with you. And they would find it hard to relate to other adults, other individuals. They'll find relationships difficult because they hadn't practiced expressing their emotions with you. They hadn't practiced those relational skills. They hadn't practiced it with you because you weren't open to relationship. You were more focused on roles. And that's what evolving really, really, what's the word I'm trying to use? Really creates for us. It creates that room for us to nurture the relationship that we need with our children. And with nurturing the relationship that we have with our children, we teach them, we model to them relational skills that they will then use in their friendships, in their future relationships. It's a win-win. So evolving requires those changes. And whatever it is that you get exposed to in parenting. We teach on active listening. We teach on how to validate your children's emotions. We teach on how to set boundaries, healthy boundaries. We teach on how to have constructive conversations with your teenagers, moving from control to collaboration. We talk about negotiations. There are lots of things that we talk about in the parenting world, that it's time for many parents to join in and evolve. We can't stay stagnant. And I keep quoting Alvin Toffler's quote that says that the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. It's going to be those who are unwilling to learn, unlearn, and relearn. We've got to continuously learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that's what evolving is all about. That's what organizations are doing. That's what top CEOs are doing. They're looking on the table. They're looking at their organization and saying, how can we change? What can we do? What do we need to learn? What do we need to unlearn? What is not current? What is not relevant in this day and age? That's what we need to do in parenting as well. Why is she whispering? Why is she whispering? So really, to be honest, the main thing is evolving, learning. It doesn't diminish your values. We're not saying get rid of your values. We're not saying get rid of all the values that your parents taught you. No, that's not what we're saying. We're just saying start to do more. Start to be more as well. Start to connect more. Start to listen more. Start to go from fear-based parenting to relational leadership, relational parenting, where you're focusing on the relationship as well as the role. These are, and many are the things that keep us relevant, things that keep us effective, and most of all, the things that keep us influential. I trust that this has helped. Let me know in the comment box what you found most useful in this video. And next week, I think I'm going to continue on this topic. But now, what I'm going to do next week is I'm going to be talking about what does evolving as parents look like at every stage in our children's lives. You don't want to miss that. So press the like button, subscribe to my channel, share this video with all your friends and other parents, and let's evolve together. Let's take this parenting leadership and let's evolve together so that we continue to stay relevant, we continue to be effective, and most especially, we continue to grow in our influence with our children. Trust this helps. Remember, I am rooting for you all the way, and I'll talk to you next week. See you later. God bless. Bye bye.